I did a thing. I did a thing. Welcome back to Sonnie's Place. My name is Emma, and today I'm gonna share with you that thing I did. So as some of you may know, if you've been following along on our channel, you know that we are officially roosterless on our homestead for the first time since we've been on this property. When we first started our chicken flock, I started with 12 Buff Orpingtons, and one of them being a beautiful, awesome rooster named Teddy. He was my sweet guy. He treated his ladies well. Man, I love that guy. And I unfortunately lost him last year in 2020. And not long ago when I got my new flock of Welsummers and Silver Lace Wyandottes, one of those Welsummers turned out to be a rooster. But the crummy thing about that is that Rusty was a jerk. We kind of had a love-hate relationship. He was good to his flock, he was good to his ladies, protected them, but every time that I came around or that Matt came around, as soon as we turned our back, he would come right at us. I had no ill will towards the guy. I unfortunately lost him to the summer heat wave that we had just a few months ago. Ever since then, we've been roosterless. It's been a quiet homestead, and quite honestly, I haven't liked it. I've really enjoyed having the roosters around and really appreciate their job here on the homestead to protect their flock. So next year's goal was to get a few younger hens and a rooster to start our hatching operation. If you're not aware, Buff Orpingtons are considered a multi-purpose chicken. That means that they're good egg layers, but they're also good for meat. So they're a good bird to have around if things hit the fan. And then I got on Facebook. Now I get on Facebook quite frequently to check my chicken groups, my homesteading groups, my gardening groups, all those fun groups. I'm sure I've seen you guys around in those groups as well. And oftentimes I'll see posts on there for roosters, and usually I'll just keep scrolling. But this time I saw this post and it had two roosters and they were Buff Orpingtons. I took a second look and they were only 15 minutes away. 15 minutes away. It was a sign. It was a sign. It was a sign! So I went ahead and messaged the lady asking for more information about the roosters and how they've been raised, how old they are, all of that fun stuff. And the more I got to talking to her, the more I realized that she was one of my people. She was a chicken lady, just like me. And I spent that whole day debating whether I'd go there and get a rooster because I hadn't really planned on getting one right now. I already had my heart set on the spring, but she sent me pictures of these two roosters, and they are handsome fellas. I did a good thing, went ahead and slept on it, thought about it some more. I woke up the next morning and I was like, I'm gonna get a frickin' rooster today. Told my husband Matt, I'm gonna get a rooster, and he's like, okay babe, whatever. Before I got my chickens, before we moved out here to this property and started this homestead, I was a city girl. Grew up in Southern California, had no idea how to raise chickens. In fact, I was deathly afraid of roosters in particular.
Hey Franklin.
I used to spend a lot of time as a little girl with my grandmother in Tijuana in Baja California. And she had a rooster, and I remember being out in her backyard and giving her hens a hard time, just goofing off, being silly, like kids do. Before you know it, this rooster's chasing me. I'm running across the yard screaming, and he's over there scratching the crap out of my back. And ever since then, I've been afraid of roosters. So when we moved out to this property, we're gonna get our chickens. I had decided at that point that I was gonna go ahead and try roosters. I was gonna give it a shot. I'd done the research. I'd looked for a breed that was particularly docile and friendly and narrowed it down to the Buff Orpington roosters. And with my first batch of chickens was Teddy Roosevelt. And like I said before, he was the best rooster. He was so friendly, and the guy loved to get held. So every day I'd pick him up and he would purr. So I fell in love with the Buff Orpington roosters. So as I'm driving out to this lady's house, I know that they've been well taken care of, but you just never know, right? It's a rooster. You just never know. Get to her house and she's like, I'm over by the big red barn. She's got this beautiful, huge old red barn. She's got a chicken coop in this barn and then this awesome run that comes off of it on one end. And these chickens are just spoiled to death. They're awesome. They're beautiful and the roosters are gorgeous. They're just handsome. And I find the one that I want. And she happens to call him Big Guy. After about 30, 45 minutes of just talking, I finally go and grab Big Guy. And he's scared at first, but he doesn't attack me. He doesn't peck at me. I grab him and what does he do? He nestles his head right into my little armpit right here. Just like Teddy used to do. And I knew at that moment that this was the right rooster and that this was the right decision. Without further ado, I'd love to introduce you guys to Franklin. Franklin settled in with the ladies. They didn't quite take to him right away. It was adorable because he right away started doing his little mating dance. And I thought, man, this is perfect. He's just perfect. He just looks so good in here, doesn't he?